it says we're live! Yay! Hello and welcome everybody to the Evergreen Writing Oasis virtual writing retreat, where we're going to talk about our first panel is dealing with burnout and filling the well. And I heard myself echoing.
Sorry, I think that was me. I tried to mute.
So anyway, I am Dana Gollin. Thank you so much. This is my channel. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and have my guests introduce themselves, starting with Sarah.
Damn it, I knew you were going to start with me.
I was like, it's going to be
It's you.
All right. Hello, I am Sarah Scharnover. I have a channel where I talk about pretty much just whatever random things pop into my head. It's mostly vlogs. I do talk about writing, but like, I'm not going to teach you about writing. And yeah, that's pretty much, that's me.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Austin K. I am from the channel Austin K, which is my name, which is right there. I'm getting so much better at that. I'm proud of me. I am currently in the middle of my one-year novel writing project called So Tall the Trees, which I plan to be publishing this December. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Magic and things will ensue, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just spoke for an entire hour, and my brain is mush. I am really glad to be here to talk about self-care and all of that fun stuff. So I also stream every Monday night. It's very chill. You should come check it out or whatever. I don't know. That's all.
Yep, it's your turn.
Hi, I'm Kate over from Kate Kavanaugh. I make a lot of different writing blogs and writing experiments, and I write in a lot of different genres. And yes, that's me.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, hi. I always do that. I always start with, hi, my name is Rebecca Webb.
Right?
It's like a knee-jerk reaction now.
Mm-hmm.
I have a YouTube channel, and I've written a lot of books, self-published, and yay! That's all I can think.
They're all awesome. Don't let them fool you by their brief introductions of themselves.
That's right. Well, it just reminds me of what Becca said during her stream about talking to ourselves the way that we talk to our audience. Because I'm the worst. I am the worst at that.
You literally just did what she said not to do.
I know, I do it too, though.
Yep. Well, as soon as you said that on your stream, I started thinking about like last week and all the streams that I was doing, and I was like, how many times did I say that last week?
I was so called out.
Yes.
I was like, oh no.
But it was in a good way. It was in a good way.
Yeah.
So
like, let me get my fan out because I gotta hide.
Right? We're like, oh, we're so embarrassed. So this is how we're gonna do this. I've got some questions that we came up with as far as this topic, burnout and filling the well. If you guys at any point in time see a comment in the comment section that you want to answer that I don't see because I am not very good at multitasking, feel free at any point in time to go ahead and pull it, and we will highlight it, and then you guys can talk about it. Sound like a plan? All right,
Sounds
awesome.
like plans, dude.
So I personally am excited about this this particular topic because I am burnt out. I am burnt out. I didn't recognize it for a long time, and so I'm really excited that I get the opportunity to take what I'm experiencing now and kind of help people to avoid from getting to this point. Does that make sense? So the first question that I had was, have you guys ever suffered from imposter syndrome?
Daily.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, all the time.
Does it
Forever.
go?
Forever and ever, amen. Yeah.
Right.
And how do you guys deal with that? Or what advice would you give to help people recognize it and then work through it?
See, I'm so excited for this panel so that I can hear what
Yeah,
y'all
we're all waiting.
and then I can
Tell us. What? Tell us.
Honestly, I push through it. For the most part, I push through it because I recognize that it will always be there. Do you think Beyonce, okay, we're going to throw out Beyonce. Do you think Beyonce looks in the mirror every day and is happy with what she sees? No, she's not, because she's human.
Right.
Sorry, Illuminati, not confirmed. She's a human being.
What?
And so
Right.
when you throw like labels on her, Beyonce, superstar, femme fatale, world dominator, like queen bee,
Right.
like all of those, if I was in her shoes, would just sound like titles to me. Right? Like it doesn't matter which area of the pyramid you're at. Some part of you is always going to feel like you don't belong there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insecurity.
And that's fine. And it's absolutely fine to feel that way, at least in my personal opinion. Because if you don't feel that way, if you feel complacent, then you're not going to grow anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, it helps us strive for more.
Right. Like see imposter syndrome as a tool instead of a hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I journal a lot. So if I notice that what I'm really trying to do is journal when there's happy moments and I'm not just like mentally not there, but I journal whenever I'm feeling that, and usually writing it down helps me to visually see how ridiculous the words are sometimes.
Right.
How negative I'm being about myself. And that is a good reflection back and a like lesson at the time that I need. So.
I mean, I know this is like terrible advice, but what I used to do, because before I wrote books, I wrote screenplays. And so I would enter contests and I would get the external validation, you know, like by placing, and like if complete strangers think I'm talented, then maybe I might be a little bit talented, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I know that's not healthy to get outside validation, but that did help me a lot when I was in my 20s to move forward, because I was at a place where, you know, because I'm one of those people that doesn't know anybody. And unfortunately in the entertainment industry, the only way you can really make it is if you know people. I would try to give my scripts to people. I would try and do all these things and it just wasn't happening. And so finally I decided to enter contests, you know, just actually to connect with people. But it really was a part of me. I didn't realize until I started placing in contests how much I was using it for validation and how much I was using it to feel like, oh, well, maybe I can actually, yeah. But even then I would still say, well, they just like the story.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, they don't really like the writing. They just think the concept is cool. So that's why I placed. So even then you still find a way to put yourself like, to still feel like an imposter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wouldn't not necessarily recommend that, but that was how I would deal with it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you've pretty much covered it all. Because I have to remind myself constantly that I am talented and that people are coming to me because they believe that I am talented. And I was relying a lot on external stimulus, you know. Oh yeah, look, they love me. But then as soon as I would turn the camera off, I was back into the whole like, I don't know if this is good enough. I don't know, you know. And so I think that once I realized that I was relying too much on that external gratification, that's when I realized that I needed to find me again.
Yeah.
Needed to find me. So,
I mean, it is good to give it to somebody else sometimes. Like, get the hell out of your own way sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you can be impersonating your imposter syndrome yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be the negative Nancy in the room. And sometimes you just gotta
I should
tell
just
her to
change
go
my
away.
name to Nancy. I think
Right.
Oh,
So, have you guys experienced burnout?
Yeah.
And if so, how did you deal with it?
I'm going to be real honest. The way that I dealt with it the first few times that I experienced burnout was not healthy. I deleted everything. I freaked. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Nothing is ever going to go right. It's got to go. Yeah.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah. Legitimately, what did Camille say to me the other day? I Amy marched my own book. Yeah. I'm
Is that an actual person?
Amy March is Joe March's sister from Little Women.
Okay.
Yeah, she gets jealous of Joe and she burns her books. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm twin Amy and Joe in my head. I'm super strong female heroine. I can do anything. And then Amy on the other side, tortured artist, just wants love, burns everything. Yeah.
Oh God.
That when I first started realizing that I was getting to the burnout point, that was my first thought. Back in June, when I was like, I just can't do this anymore. My first thought was I was going to delete everything and it was all going to go in the trash. I was going to become like that writer that's just kind of creepy in the back corner, watching everybody, doing my thing. And then I decided that, well, maybe that's not the best route. So I took a step back. That was like my first thing was I took a step back.
A much healthier option.
Yes.
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 Very less dramatic.
Yeah, right. I was a little younger at the time. Not much younger though, but a little
You're like,
younger.
Oh, if I were to go back to my 20s, yeah, I had notebooks full of stories and ideas and everything. And one night I just was like, fireplace, I guess what you're talking about, Amy marching them, because I had it in my mind that, nope, I'm a mom now. I don't have time for this foolishness and I'm never going to be good enough for it. So I'm just going to,
you're killing me here.
Right? So now every now and again, I find myself trying to recover those stories. And I think that I have done a pretty good job at them, but now that I'm more mature, they're coming out better. So
I think having experienced Amy marching my own stuff, I can more easily recognize when I'm getting to the point of no return, right? Like Phantom of the Opera plays and I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, hide everything. And then I for me, it's nature all the time, always. I just go outside. I'll sit on my hill in the backyard with my dog and we'll just watch people walking or watch cars go by. And I'll just be like, all right, it's fine. Everything's fine. The world is still turning. The sun is still out. Everything is going to be fine. The universe moves on, and so will I.
I don't know that I've ever experienced a full burnout. I've definitely had weeks at a time where I couldn't touch anything. So it felt like a miniature version of it. But I did see that Emily was asking if that wasn't just everything that happens during or after NaNoWriMo. And I have noticed that I have that happen after every Nano or every camp. I have a little mini burnout phase. And so I'm constantly working to make that a smaller time period and not get that way. But I don't know that I've learned the secret to not having that happen.
You know what's interesting, because with NaNoWriMo, I before I did videos for AuthorTube, I never experienced burnout.
Right.
Ever. Yeah. I would do the month and I would be like, right, And I was all like, this is great. This is amazing. Like, that's how I finished Dream Diaries. I was all like, woo, I did it. And, but I didn't feel any burnout. I just felt like, woo, I accomplished it. I was great. I remember I finished it early because we went to like Thanksgiving in Vegas and was like, this is great. And I celebrated. Didn't feel it at all as soon as I started and to be fair, I was doing daily videos for the last however many, whatever. Yeah. And I mean, burnout. Like, I don't think I wrote a word or made a video all of December for like 3 years in a row now.
Yeah.
I think it's like when you're putting external pressure on yourself, that's when other elements you're going to burn out for. Like some of my biggest Amy March moment occurred because I was working full time at a very physically intensive job that dealt with the public and didn't pay anything, along with trying to make videos and writing and pursuing my dreams, whatever those dreams were at the time, you know, and like still trying to get acting jobs and all of this other stuff all at the same time. And it was like, okay, something's got to go. What can I do? You know? And so that it's like a volcano. It's just ready. More like a pimple, really. It's going to go whether you want it to or not. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think my burnout is much more related to the fact that I have a day job, because I have like a full-time day job that I can't seem to find a day job that you don't take home with you at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I swear that I've heard that those exist, but I can't.
I did have one. I had one. It was when I did film restoration, because there's literally nothing you can take home with you. You're like in the pit. You know, the only thing that was exhausting about it is that it's not like a job where you can take breaks. Like, you're stuck in front of a computer, you're cleaning dirt off of film, and you're doing it the whole 8 hours, you know? And so there's they cut you off from internet, everything. So you're working the whole, well, I did notice with other jobs, I could, you know, maybe check Instagram or like whatever and have little breaks. But yeah, never took it home. Yeah. Nice.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
My last two jobs, like my last two careers, I guess. Like right now I work in a family law office, and we do also like juvenile court and DCFS, like the CPS cases. So there's nothing pleasant about that. And before that I did mental health. So like, it's like everything's heavy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, when you were doing the film restorations, did you ever find yourself at home like thinking about how you were going to?
Not really, because a lot of the stuff that I did was scratches and dirt. So it's literally just digitally removing like little pops and little dirt. So there's really nothing to think about. You know what I mean? Like, there's no strategy. I mean, there's a little bit with scratches because of and like cigarette burns, which are like, we'll take multiple frames and sometimes you have to pull from other frames, but still, even then you're thinking about it in the moment of how to do it as opposed to later. And honestly, because it was a multi-shift job, someone else gets it when I'm done. So I come back the next day, it's already fixed. So I know even if I don't finish it, someone else is going to finish it. Unless, of course, they couldn't. And then they're like, you finish it. Like, damn it. I really thought someone would finish that when I was gone. But then it's more like a surprise.
Right?
Oh, yeah. That's what I like. I actually like Tamara's comment that her starting a burnout is exhaustion, because it really is. And everything that she's talking about, disinterest in writing, not sleeping well, sadness, those were all the things that were kind of leading up to it, but I made lots of excuses for it. I was like, it's getting hotter, you know, all that. And so how did you guys get past it? How did you deal with it? How did you process when you got burnt out? Like, how did you recover from it?
I let myself be sad. I just let it, like, and not just like letting it happen, but like consciously focusing on, I am sad right now. I feel like crap right now. Why? Like reverting myself back to a kid who always asks why. Why do I feel this way? Why do I want to cry? Why can't I write my book? And then just letting myself sit with it for a while. Because if I run away from it, it's like, it's going to catch me. It's faster than me. I'm not Usain Bolt, but this thing is. Like, it will catch me.
Right.
See, I don't typically hit like a full burnout because I have built into my schedule like 2 periods of time that try to address that. This year is going to be a problem because I can't do those things. But in April of every year, I usually go camping, usually between April and May. CJ and I go camping. And then in November for Thanksgiving, she comes in, and even though we do nano writing and stuff, we also like take at least a whole day and just play Sims and veg out and watch old stoner movies we watched in our 20s together, and like just enjoy just being stupid for the sake of being stupid. And I think that has curbed my like full breakdowns. And you know, I mean, some of that's just like I have bipolar disorder, so I already have to kind of build some of that into me, into my life, to keep myself from kind of losing it. So I think some of that's the reason that I actually did built that into my life. And yes, I said Sims, Alexis. I play Sims on my channel if you want to see a little bit of Sims. So
Eve said I just keep envisioning the burnout as Usain Bolt. That's funny. I'm sorry.
That's like your metaphors and similes are on point. Like it's been 30 minutes and you're crushing it. I don't know how.
Don't read my work. It's purple as an evening sky.
Yeah, but that could be really great.
For me with burnout, I usually, it's very rare that I take days off in that sense, you know what I mean? And even though I know I should, but I get that, you know, the self-perpetuating guilt trip of like not producing. But because I have sewing, that's usually what I'll do. So usually if you see on my channel, like, my God, she's made a lot of bags this month, just know it's because I am stuck. I am like, I have 2 different books that I'm working on. Right now I'm in that position. This is why I've been doing a lot of cosplay, because I am writing 2 different books, and it is like pulling teeth almost every single sentence. I'm thinking about switching maybe back over to screenplays just to maybe spice it. Usually that helps me jolt out of things to switch to a different format. Like some people use short stories or poetry or something.
Yep.
But I, right now, sewing and creating is just that's usually what helps me, because it makes me feel like I'm still creating and making something tangible that I can use, that I can, you know, wear or whatever. So that's how I deal with it. But then it gets to a point where it's all like, you know, you got to get back to it.
Do something. My best reading months are usually my worst writing months. So that's what I end up doing, is I just write instead, and eventually that helps. I have the same, I pointed the wrong way. I'm not at Austin's level yet. I have the same problem where I feel the pressure to create something always. And that if I haven't done it, like, then I'm terrible and awful. So it really is just like putting myself in like a timeout and being like, no, your entire goal today is read, and that's it. So
yep. I run away into other art forms all the time. Like I'm a runner. I run away. Like if something is too much, I'm just like, like I will travel at the, like, if I am able to, at the drop of a hat, if I can run away, like physically, I'll do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna drive to Canada today. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I loved those times where I could just say, "Oh, I'm out of here," and I could just me and my dog, and we would hit the road and everything. I feel like the older I get, the more responsibilities I acquire. I can't do that as often.
Right.
So I do miss those days.
Yeah, old beverage bug is stopping me right now.
Yes,
Right.
of course.
Oh my goodness. So how do you guys have any advice on how to prevent burnout?
Oh, I wish, man.
Yeah.
I like what Becca said about switching projects. Like if you feel the burn, like maybe put down what you're working on and like focus on something else, even if it's in the same realm, even if you can't paint, like, right? So I can't paint, and I was near burnout with So Tall the Trees earlier this year, and so I was like, I need to put her away, and so I painted something that reminded me of the story that I was working on. So it's tangentially related. It's keeping me in the mindset, in the mood of the story, but I'm not actually having to put words on a page, which are blocking me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly
like Kevin Bacon your stuff.
Yeah.
7 degrees.
Yeah, I mostly play Sims or other video games.
Mm-hmm.
I play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep. Yes.
I have I'm on a Dungeons and Dragons live stream on Twitch. So yeah, those are things that I do that help. I find that like Dungeons and Dragons really does help because I get to go be a totally different character that I don't have to write about. I can engage in all of the I'll call it effery for the sake of this being a giant ordeal that we're all in. And I don't have to worry too much about the outcome because even if my character dies, I'll just drop another one. D&D Beyond, it takes like 10 minutes.
Right. D&D Beyond.
That's my husband's ringtone is the D&D Beyond theme song.
Nice.
It wakes me up at 3 a.m. occasionally. But yeah, so those things do work really well for me.
I find that in order to prevent burnout, if I'm more realistic about what I'm capable of and not trying to push every single day. So it's something I'm working on, but just like being kinder to myself each day, then it won't like add up and eventually lead to the burnout.
Yeah, I like what you just said, but the workaholic part of me did not.
Yeah. It's a struggle. It's an ongoing kind of battle.
You know, and it goes on forever.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, not to make you feel daunted, but it's like, it's like you think that older you get, the more chill you get, but honestly, it just doesn't. Your brain still stays at a certain place, and it's like it doesn't. Like I remember talking to my grandma, she was like 104, and she said to me that she's like, I still inside feel like I'm 25. She's like, it's only when I look in a mirror that I'm shocked. Like she gets genuinely like shocked. And I think everyone feels that way. You kind of, you don't, and then, you know, depending on your success and how it is, then you feel like, well, I'm this age, so I should already be this successful. And then, you know, whatever. And it's like, I mean, even like my husband's parents, you know, they've been in the film industry their entire lives. And unfortunately that means this, you know, and they're in their 70s right now and they're still making films, you know, some of them are successful, some of them are not, but it's like, they're still doing it. They're still working. They're still having that passion to tell stories in that venue. So I don't know if that part will ever change with creative people. I think you can definitely be healthier about it, of course, but it's still really intense, and you're still going to go through those roller coasters.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I know, like, for me, I definitely saw myself being like, I thought when I was 40, I'd be so organized that I would just breeze through life and 40 came, and it's been like 7 months since it came, and I'm just like, where's this magical fairy that's supposed to make me more chill, more organized, more? And I'm like, I think that's a lot to do with it as well. It's like coming to terms with like, this is who you are, and this is how you function, and you know, because I don't know. I guess that's why I get burned out, because I don't know how to shut it off. Because I'm constantly thinking of, okay, well, I can do this a little bit better, and I can do that a little bit better, and that's what we need to.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting correlation to, like, we all have our own like natural states, like our own personalities, our own hang-ups, our own things that we're really good at. And living is really like the process of figuring out how to fine-tune those to make ourselves the most efficient as possible. That was a terrible sentence. To make ourselves the most efficient. Right. And so I think that's where like the lifelong journey of trying to figure yourself out comes from, and sort of how to mitigate burnout is also somewhere in that pudding. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to piece together what triggers your burnout, how you would respond. Like, what's your love language for burnout?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need at this time that will get you through it?
What do I need right now? Tell me, Austin.
I don't know.
Right?
No.
I'm actually
feeling it.
Yeah, that you said that. That's interesting. Like, your love language for burnout, because I think that a lot of people don't really understand what that means. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, a lot of people don't understand their own love languages and how to heal themselves. How would you guys consider, like, do you, when you feel like you're getting close to burnout, does it also go like hand in hand with writer's block? Have you noticed that?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I've never had writer's block.
I've had story block. I've never had writer's block. So, like, I've known not what to do with one story, but then I just do something else until I figure it out.
Right.
So,
I
don't know.
Okay.
I always worry saying that because sometimes people freak out.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because we're discovery writers. So when you're a discovery writer, it's a little bit easier because you can put this story on hold and move on to the next one. So there's always something going on.
Yeah, and if you're comfortable meandering, a lot of times you could just meander. Like, you want to talk about painting toenails for 25 pages and then figure out what's happening, you could do that.
Yep.
You just cut it out later, but you can do it if you need to.
Yeah. I could see. I think that's my problem, is that I'm too structured, and I think that holds me back a bit sometimes, because I don't want to go off outline. and it's like, and I know that's silly, because honestly, usually what I'll do to get back out of, like, if I do have a block, I'll just write something and sound just like a just free write, you know, and it has nothing to do with my story, nothing to do with thing. I'll just, like, even if I'm just writing about me, you know, like almost like a journal entry of like, why can't I write the story right now? I can't tell you how many of those I've written in the last 3 weeks. What is my problem? Why can't I write the story right now? What is blocking me? Like, I'm hoping if I write it out, I'll figure it out. It's like everything is outlined. You know how the story goes. You know where the character arcs are going. You know where everything is going. Why? And I don't know. I mean, obviously it's my own block. I just don't know how to get past it. And I know eventually I will. I mean, I always do. but I don't find a clear path every time. Like I feel like every time it's a different way to get past it. So I don't think I can like say, oh, this is how I get out of it, you know, because I get out of it differently every time.
Yeah.
That's probably not healthy, but I just don't know how else to do it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's unhealthy. Like considering every situation is probably different.
Yeah, I guess.
Every solution is going to be different, right?
Yeah.
It's not math. Like it's not.
Why can't it be math?
It's not.
Right?
It's not physics. We're in like theoretical calculus over here. Right? Like nobody's ready. Like nobody knows what's happening. We're talking about membranes and string theory. Like
put it into quantum physics, people.
Like what do I do with this? I don't know.
All right. Well, my eyes. We are in the process of doing some renovations, and there's so much dust in the air. It is ridiculous. So my nose is running. So I had to go to avatar mode. I was like, oh.
Which is on the bingo card.
Oh yeah! I didn't see the bingo card. All right. I hope you guys caught it because there it was there. Oh my goodness. All right. So now that we've tackled the hard stuff in the beginning, now we can deal with filling that well. So what do you guys do as far as filling your creative wells and making sure that you take care of yourselves and don't allow yourself to get to that position where you just want to quit everything?
I have a lot of stuff. I have so many hobbies.
Right.
I have a lot of hobbies.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just saw this. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I saw Sarah post it a little while ago, but I didn't want to say anything.
Oh man.
You let Minnie Monster put makeup on you and somebody makes you cry.
She needs a tissue. Someone give her a tissue.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
You're gonna make me cry from it.
Right?
I know, right? I'm like going back to avatar mode for just
dry
it.
That's freaking contagious, yo.
It is.
Put it away. You already went in avatar mode, you stay in avatar mode.
You stay in avatar mode.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, this is one of the ways that I fill my well is I will cry. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. And it is just so cleansing. It is absolutely so cleansing to just be like, oh, it's all out. And so that is, you are witnessing live on Dana's live stream how
she's filling the well.
Yes, one way that I fill the well. So that is so amazing. Like 2 years ago when I started this channel, I would have never guessed that I'd be here right now. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay, Dana.
All right. So now that I've given one of my secrets away for filling that well, what do you guys do? What are some of the ways that you fill your creative wells?
I am obsessive about a handful of fandoms, and I tend to just immerse myself so deeply in one of them that when I come out, I'm a different person again.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
You dive headfirst into fandom and.
Yep.
I mean, I do that too in the sense that I think I've seen seasons 1 through 7 of Buffy like 1 billion times. So it's like I usually rewatch. That's what I do, or rewatch binge. And then I've been doing that lately like crazy. Like I am in the midst of Warehouse 13 and I am loving it.
I just did that like 3 months ago. I loved it. I had so much fun.
I know. I think it's my like 4th or 5th rewatch, but it's like I started quarantine with like my millionth rewatch of Battlestar. But I'm already craving it again.
Yeah, I did. I skipped Eureka this time, but I usually do Haven and then Warehouse 13 and then Eureka. But Eureka's hard to get your hands on right now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Interesting.
you have to like buy it episode for episode on Amazon, and like I just want to be. I'll subscribe to a streaming service for it, but like, give me a service I can just subscribe to.
Exactly.
I don't need to spend $400 on Eureka. I'm good.
I know. So true.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I guess, I mean, if you really love it that much, it would it's like therapy, right?
I haven't spent $400 on Twin Peaks, and I'm essentially part of Twin Peaks at this point in my life. So
I've been thinking about rewatching that one too, man.
I've been introducing Tamara, and we're in The Return right now.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it has been an experience.
And I love hearing about their Twin Peaks nights because they are fabulous. However, I was traumatized by Twin Peaks, and so like we were talking. Well, so here's the thing. So we were talking.
Do not spoil it. Do not spoil it.
I'm not going to. I am not going to. But we were talking, and I think that next time they start the loop, I'll join in from the beginning. And then that way I can like see how it started and how, because I kind of jumped in like right in the middle and was like, and I was 12. So I was like,
yeah, I was thinking about getting people together to do a podcast. So I'll let you know.
Oh,
yeah. But so there's the tea right there.
I also watch a lot of television shows and films, but I'm super lame and a bit of a hipster, so most of them are foreign language. And so like I always feel like a big dweeb when I'm like, yeah, I love watching classic Japanese horror films.
Ooh.
Because then people are like, and I'm like, just watch Spooky Rice's channel. Like, shout out to Spooky Rice. It's a creepy ass channel, but it's really good. I'm sorry, am I not supposed to cuss? I don't know.
She's not monetized. You're good.
I'm not monetized.
I already had this discussion.
Okay, cool.
I just didn't want to say fuckery at the beginning because it's right at the beginning, and that's like.
Oh well, I had already dropped the F-bomb by that point.
Part of the way you refill the well is by not controlling your language.
It's true. I was raised in a military town. Listen, I was born on Fort Sill. I lived in El Paso, Texas, and then I moved to Tennessee and Fort Campbell. They all cuss.
Right.
All of them. And so do I.
I was actually, so where I was this morning, we were actually discussing the like how rewarding it is to ourselves when we don't limit ourselves to the vocabulary that we're allowed to use, because sometimes we are constantly like holding back what we really want to say, and that increases the stress. So when we allow ourselves to just be like blah 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 blah, it is actually
just like that. Man, I need to make a GIF of that.
That was like some straight up Tasmanian devil from. So we need to get that. We need that for real.
Okay, I've made a note. I will make a GIF.
Dana's like the most gifable person.
It was my dream. It was my dream to become a GIF, and Austin made that dream happen. Like, I was like, and it's pinned to my Twitter.
If I had glitter, I'd be like, it's me.
Yes, it is pinned there forever because it's like my thank you to Austin for making my dream come true. And I had never told anybody that becoming a GIF was one of my lifelong achievements. So that was even better.
Yeah, it's always nice to scratch something off the list when you didn't even tell anyone it was on the list.
Right? I know. Well, oh man, what else do you guys do to help fill that well? Like for me, I like to unplug completely. Like I will unplug completely and I will go, we have with the tail end of the Rocky Mountains here. And so the kids and I will go up the mountain and we'll let the Malamutes just run. And we, before they burn down, would go into these meadows. And yeah, we had like that was also a big devastating thing that happened where our mountains burned down. But even still, it's kind of refreshing because when you look at it, you can't see those scars. And so one of the things that I was telling the kids is that we need to go and we need to do something like that. We need to go hiking. We need to get out of the house more. And that's usually one of the things that I do when I need to refill my well is I just get out of the house. Because even like sometimes I think just being in the house too long is draining.
That's what going for walks really helps me. Or just like back before quarantine and lockdown, traveling to new places, even like watching new shows, but trying new recipes, anything that's just like a little bit different than what I'm used to and trying to infuse as much of that newness into my life, that helps refill me.
A+, yes, exactly. Yeah. I just did that, was it last week or the week before, where I posted on Instagram. I was like, I'm thinking about trying a challenge. I've never tried to learn Chinese before. How about we see how much I can learn in a week? Do you want me to film it? And they said yes. And so I did. And I learned more than I thought that I would and fell in love with something completely new.
Yeah.
And so now I'm learning Chinese. Like you never know like what little like nuggets you'll take with you that will bloom into something much more profound than you thought they would in the first place.
I think my problem is I don't know like if I'm procrastinating by doing these things or if I'm genuinely refilling the well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes when I'm on the 5th episode of the day and I'm like, I feel like this is edging towards procrastination.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, and then I start to feel that weight of guilt. So I don't know. I think it's still a balance even when you are refilling the well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I tend to be a little more forgiving with myself than I think a lot of other people do, partly because I have like a constant mental health problem, but also partly because I also do have my day job outside. So like I only have so many hours. So sometimes I do need to take all of the hours and just watch some stupid show. And like at the end of the day, does it actually do much for me? Maybe not. But, you know, and I tend to kind of cycle through like a group of different shows.
Yeah, same.
So, right. So I feel like I can tell if I should be somewhere else in that process by now.
Right.
Although some of the shows are still on the air, so that might be misleading because every time I rewatch them, they're longer.
That's true. Like Supernatural.
Dang. You cracked the code.
Yeah, because like when I started all this, I think American Horror Story had like 4 seasons on Netflix.
Right.
Oops.
I found out, so I kept telling myself the other day, I was like, okay, 1 more episode and then I'm going to go get some writing done. And I just recently discovered that if it just starts the next episode, like, and you don't even know what's happening. It just goes.
Oh, I have that turned off.
Yeah. Well, Mini Monster set it up for me, and I didn't know it was a thing. So I was like, I had looked at the clock and I was like, oh, it's like 7 o'clock, and that in itself was startling because nobody had like knocked on the door and been like, "Hey, mom,
are you okay?" Hey, just checking in.
Right. So
skincare. I'm going to throw skincare in there because I think that that's super important. In general, I will get on my soapbox about sunscreen. Don't let me bully you. Let me bully you. But like skincare is, especially at night, is my favorite time to wind down. I put on my my playlists on Spotify, all my like songs, and I just let it shuffle and listen to everything while just taking care of my skin, because like I see that Sky said skincare. What is that? It is when you wash your face and brush your teeth before you go to sleep. It's important. Like even just washing your face. Like you don't have to have all the fancy products or anything like that. Even just washing your face with water, like there is something invigorating and refreshing and really calming about being able to do that. Even in the shower, giving yourself double condition. Just try it.
Yeah.
You'll feel better.
I do love painting my nails. So like once a week, it is just my time to like listen to my podcast and paint my nails and just enjoy the moment. So that helped me a lot too. I think that's similar.
Yeah, I enjoy makeup and nail polish and stuff. So sometimes, like, if I'm having a hard day at work, I might take my lunch break and put a face on my face. Because, like, doing it makes me happy, but then having it done makes me happy. And that's just a preference thing. But, like, that's one of those things that I can fit in a lunch break from, like, my stupid job. And that kind of helps me, like, on a day-to-day basis. It helps a little bit with me being able to, like, actually exist after work.
Yep.
do you guys feel like you need to spend more time doing self-care now than you did before March? I'm like, it's gonna. Like, do you feel that current events have impacted your writing or your stress levels?
Yes.
And do you feel that you might be needing more self-care?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I just saw an article today where it was like a therapist or a doctor that was saying that if you're feeling like you can't concentrate on anything, like if you feel like your concentration is like all over the place, they're like, that is a normal reaction to high stress situations that keep coming at you. And because it's not just the pandemic, it's like one thing after another just keeps happening. We keep getting hit with all of these stressful events and things that, just affecting us, that it's no wonder that so many of us are having trouble staying focused. And it's funny because I was talking about that the other day of like how I normally can bounce between many projects and I can't, right? I'm not able to for some reason. And when I read that this morning, I was like, oh, well, maybe that's why. It's like almost like a protection. Your brain is doing a protection of a way to cope with all these things just constantly being. I mean, this is a global pandemic. It's not just like in one town in one area. It's everywhere. And so, yeah, I think we need to be nicer to ourselves.
Yes.
And it even feels irresponsible to focus on one thing because there's so much, like even if like my ADHD takes me on a ride somewhere, like in this situation, in the world situation, in just the United States situation, I feel irresponsible taking my eyes away from anything. It's like I'm on high alert always.
Exactly. Yep.
It was just, I was highlighting that comment that said CL Clements had been feeling lethargic for the last 2 months. And that is that's a valid statement, because I thought, like, for me personally, I thought, well, I work from home, and so this isn't really going to affect me, and I'm actually going to get more writing done because I have nowhere to go. And I honestly think that contributed to the burnout, because I didn't realize how much it really did impact me. Because what you're describing about that article, like, I have been having the hardest time focusing on anything, you know?
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Yeah. I find myself, like, I've got so many, like, sticky notes all over the place. And when my daughter says to me, "Hey, Mom, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why? What's the matter?" And she's like, "Because you're painting the wall with Post-its." I'm like, well, I just got to make sure I don't forget anything. So, yeah, you're definitely not alone, Elsie Clements. Not at all.
Yeah, I feel like a damn meerkat. I'm just like, what's that?
Exactly.
Over there. Wait. Like, constantly.
Yeah.
Just all over the place.
Yeah, I have devolved into the land of memeing stuff, and that has really made me feel happier. Just like joining like a shit posting group and just watching people make memes is just stupid, and it's glorious, and there's something very healing about it. And I have like friends, like I have different memedoms that I have groups for. And so, like, I have friends that get my Twin Peaks memes, and then I have friends who get my, like, F the police memes, and I have friends who get, like, my political memes. Like, I have these groups of friends who are just like, oh, it's more memes. But it makes me happy. And so,
Word. Yeah.
I guess they just have to mute me.
Mute me if you dare.
Oh, man, I love this. I love this comment. I am so glad that we could help you to be more productive. And you might be a writing machine and getting lots done, but make sure that you're paying attention to yourself and taking care of yourself, because that is definitely important. I'm telling you, this eye started leaking and it won't stop. I'm like, come on. So anyway, it's good, happy tears though, because I definitely never thought I would get that far. It's kind of amazing, I think. And this might also be part of my imposter syndrome, to think that there are actually 500 people out there in the world who want to hear what I have to say about anything.
Yeah.
I know that there's one individual who would do anything to stop me from saying anything, but how does that affect you guys? Like, how does that affect, like, when people reach out to you and they say positive things to you? Like, how do you, I don't want to say how do you handle that, but how does it affect you, and how does it affect your creative process? Does it make you want to write more, or?
I have a hard time with compliments.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with those.
Yeah. I go into like freeze instead of flight or fight. I'm just like, ah.
Did you ever see that New Girl? Do you ever watch New Girl?
I have watched New Girl.
Okay, there's like this episode where he compliments her, and she's just like, Thanksgiving, I'm gonna.
That's me. That's me.
I literally, like, I had to take that clip and wanted to play it every time, because she cannot. All he said was, "You look pretty," and she was just like,
yeah.
Brought up like Thanksgiving and how are the holidays, and it was like summer and.
Yeah, on the last stream, somebody said that my makeup looked nice, and I went, thank you. Went about doing my other thing like a sad, scared squirrel. It's like, oh shit, no.
It's so hard. I can't take compliments either.
Yeah. It's a little different. Like, if I get a compliment that's in writing and I'm not like on a camera,
yeah,
that's a little different. I tend to just feel very confused. Like, are you sure you wrote the right email?
Right?
Did it autofill my name? Because I think it might have.
The first time, do you remember? So the first time I got a public compliment about my book was from Shannon, and it was on your stream.
Uh-huh.
And I was having like the worst health that month, and I was actually streaming from bed because I wasn't well, and I was streaming from bed, and it was crazy. And she gave me this compliment, and it brought me to tears. Apparently, I'm crying. But it was so amazing. It was so awesome, and I loved it, and the moment was really intense, and it was great. And then the after came, and that's when I was just kind of like, wow, somebody loves what I wrote, and I promised a second one. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, it has to be just as awesome as the first.
Yeah.
I don't want to disappoint her. I don't want to disappoint anyone, you know? And I found myself, not because of anything that anyone did, but because I put so much pressure on myself, I found myself kind of moving away from it.
Right.
Like putting it on the shelf and being like, okay, well, now it's way too big for me to
Right.
get it.
Now it's got teeth. Now it's scary.
Yes. And then it was Shannon again who was like, I can't wait to get more of Cassius. And I was like, okay, Dana, you need to get a hold of this. You need to get a grip, and you need to get back on the keyboard. So,
well, and I think that's why it's like a trope in like writers' fiction about like somebody who blows up and becomes a New York Times bestselling author with their first book, and then their second book they just cannot get it. Like it's, I mean, and it's just because once everybody is like, you are the best, it's like, oh, so what if I F up now?
Yeah,
right.
That's what I've heard so much about, this like second book syndrome from everyone, where it's just like you're finally getting feedback on a finished product, and now you have all of that in your brain while still trying to be the same creative you were before all of it.
Right.
And it's just a trip. It's a ride. I'm scared of that eventually.
And I think what makes that terrifying too is that the audience also expects the second book to be worse. So they're going in with that idea. And you're just like, how do I subvert their expectations and meet them at the same time? What do I do? Like, it's just so panic inducing.
Oh, this is right here. Is it going to show up? Come on.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as second draft syndrome? I am going to say yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The fact that I haven't written like too many second drafts and I'm already terrified of writing another one, I'm just like, no, please. Please don't. It's like, I just want to write my first draft and it be perfect and not have to touch it ever again and just send it and we're fine, right? But like, that's the way I want it to be.
Right.
See, I love second drafts. It's the third draft and the fourth draft that kill me. Like, oh.
Yeah. I'm with you. Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't have separate drafts, really. I just, like, I write something and then I just edit that thing. So I don't end up redrafting.
I think for me, like, when I think of the second draft, it's the first round of edits.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the first round of edits because it inspires me to expand. It's when I have to start taking stuff away that I'm just like, no, this is not, I can't possibly put my manuscript on a diet. It would just take away from the awesomeness of it, you know.
She needs meat on her bones.
I have the opposite problem.
Yeah.
I get messages from CJ usually because she's usually the first one where she's like, "Can you please put more here, please? I know you're a minimalist, but I need to know some things."
Right.
I'm like, "Make them up yourself."
Well, I had sent my second book under Ava Fox into a critique group, and I didn't realize it, but we were on chapter 3, and they were like, "We have no idea what your characters look like. I mean, this is an adult genre. We need to know what this man looks like.
We have to know what brand of hot they are. How can we?
And I was like, oh my gosh, how could I possibly have forgotten that he's got muscles, bulging muscles? Yes. And then I had to go back, and I was like, well, where am I going to? Right here, bulging muscles. You
His
know?
pectorals fit a D cup.
So I do. I do enjoy the second drafts part of it, but once you get past that second draft, it's kind of scary. And then the closer you get to publication, I think that's when the imposter syndrome hits me more, because like, and especially when you start hearing stories about like traditionally published authors, and you're like this self-published, and you're just kind of like, well, I'm still published. Like, I tell people that all the time. They're like, oh, well, you're not with one of those big publishing houses. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But I'm still out there. You can still get me.
But you have heard of me.
Right.
That's right. Oh, my goodness. All
Listen,
right.
we don't all have to be part of the East India Trading Company. We can be Jack Sparrow. That's fine.
That's right. That's right. All right. So question, betas and critique partners, do they help when you're working against burning out on a story?
It depends on the notes.
Mm-hmm.
If they're particularly harsh, it'll probably keep me in burnout mode for a while, because in my mind they're so harsh that why should I even bother?
Right.
But if they are actually something I like genuinely get excited about and agree with, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, oh, that's a great thing, then it will inspire me for sure, and I'll get excited and be like, oh, I'm gonna put that in right now, and just like jump right in. So it can work both ways for me.
I think the times I'm burning out on a story is usually because I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to fix it, or like what exactly is wrong. And that's really when betas and critique partners help, where I'm like, I've done everything I can do. Right. I need someone else to see this and like tell me I'm not just in my head about it, or like what they think. So in that way, they do help.
I think it's important to select beta readers and critique partners well. Like, you don't just throw it out, like scatter it to the wind, because there is a difference between honesty and assholery.
That's true.
Right. So if you're getting critiques that just make you feel like dirt, then they don't know how to talk to you.
Yeah.
And
see, that's the problem. I came from the entertainment industry, so notes
nobody knows how to talk to you.
But I'm just saying, it doesn't matter who you're always getting mean notes. They are always mean, and you're like, okay, and you just like develop a thick skin and just like, okay, because you barely change a sentence, and they're like, perfect, great, thank God you changed that, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's like the celebrity roasts you think are bad. No.
Yeah, no.
Have a director tell you. They don't even have to say anything, just the face.
Yeah, the face, or they'll just be, especially with acting. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're brutal.
It's trash.
Brutal. Like I can't, I'm always amazed that people can stay in acting just because it's just the audition process alone. It's constant rejection. And it's just like, you have to sort of develop this thing of like, all right, well, I'm just not right for the part or whatever. And kind of develop this mindset. With writing, it's a little different, but it's like, because you've already been hired. So there's a little bit of like, you know what I mean? You're not competing against any other writers, you know, in that sense, because you're hired for a job, you're hired for a job.
And nobody's going to look at you and say, like, yeah, but your nose looks stupid. You know, like, you're not going to just be critiqued down to, like, who you exist as.
Yeah, they're never going to take your physical,
Right, like, that's not...
But the notes are just as ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I remember my boss was saying that, I know I've said this before, but it's like, he said to me, he's like, when you go into a notes call, he's like, just pick 3 things in the script that you're willing to fight for. The rest, you just give in.
Yeah, just let it go. Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
And it's similar too when you're going into an audition. It's like, you know, pick a couple of things that you want this character to be, that you really want to bring to the table.
Right.
Bring those elements and just like forget anything else that you want to do. Like you don't want anything. You just want this part. That's what you want.
Right. Yeah.
They will tell you what you want and you will want it. Like, Facts.
Yeah.
Here is another great question. When you find yourself stuck with your writing, is talking to your writing friends helpful, or does it complicate it?
Ooh.
That's interesting. Again, I think that's a double, like sometimes when I'll ask like writing friends, either, you know, I don't get any input or it's not, I guess it's you know, it's not what you're looking for or something, or you can just tell there's a lot of disinterest. So then it makes you feel like, okay, you know, they're not even that into the story. So obviously something's missing. But then on the other hand, I've had like, you know, shared stuff before and it's like a whirlwind of stuff of like, oh, you should do this, and it ends up being helpful. So it really is a mixed bag for me on that one too.
Yeah. Like you can have the opposite problems from the same situation.
Yeah.
I think it can be helpful. I mean, I agree it's a mixed bag. It can be helpful, but it can also be really complicated. Like against really being really selective about who you share with specific ideas, like is important. Otherwise, it's like balancing what you will get from it and what you will be able to give them also.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a double two-way street.
Well, I think this also comes down to like, my personal preference isn't usually to talk through my story issues personally. So like I have friends who will call me up and like them talking through it is how they work through the problem. And like I love to hear that kind of stuff. So I'm fine being on the receiving end, but I never actively call anyone to be like, I can't figure this out, just because that's not how I do things. So I don't know that it would help me too much.
Yeah, I don't even talk about what I'm writing while I'm writing it.
Yeah.
To anyone ever at all.
Yeah.
My husband's like, what are you writing? I'm like, none of your business.
I'm not telling you.
Know.
Yeah.
To be fair, I only really share my story stuff with my husband and my friend Marnie. Like she's the only one that I'll actually like, I'll literally call her in a panic, and I've been friends with her for 25 years. And so I'll just be like, Marnie, I do not know what to do. Like, where am I going with this? And she'll just be like, okay, let's talk it out. Let's talk it out. And then she helps me. So, but yeah, you're right. It's, you have to be selective, and it usually is that one person. And it's because Marnie and I we've known each other since we were 19. I'm 47. You know what I mean? It's like, and we've always been writing partners. We've written things together. So she gets my brain and I get hers. So she'll call me too. And she's like, I am stuck. And then we'll talk it out. And it just, for some reason, always comes. And by the end of the conversation, the problem is fixed. But that's one person.
If I ask a question, it's a yes or no question. It's not like an expansive, like, give me your thoughts. Like, usually I'm like, is this any good? And then if they're like, yeah, I really like it, and they try to have a conversation, I'm like, thanks, and then I disappear.
Or I'll be like, which of these poisons haven't you heard of?
Yeah.
Like that's what I need to know is what like colloquially people don't know about, because to me I've been studying it for 4 days. I
Google brain. I'm just a Google brain. I'm like, have you ever heard of blah 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 blah? If you were dismembering a corpse, how would you like?
Oh yeah, that's what if I'm not talking to my writer friends about it, I will always go to my reader friends, and then I'll ask them, and I ask them that very specific question.
Okay.
Is this any good? Is this any good? Because if they tell me, yeah, it's good or whatever, but I do there's been a couple of times where I've asked my reader friends, do you like this or is it any good? And then all of a sudden I am getting like well, maybe you should write this. And it's like, no, because that's not my style. That's your style. But we can talk about that later. So,
do you find it's hard to trust those questions though when you're asking people? Because I find that I don't think I could ever ask if a story was good or not, in the sense that I feel like all my friends would say absolutely 100% it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't feel that way. But they are going to be supportive of me. I mean, that's just like honestly, like Stefan is the only one that will just be like, no.
You know? Okay, so my mom and my one friend are the most brutally honest people.
Okay, so you have people that will tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I feel like you need that.
That's what. Becca, I remember you said that you gauge your mom's interest by like you can tell levels. It's all nice, but you can tell the levels. So that's my friends where it's like, I like that, but I might have liked this more, and I could tell. Oh, so you didn't like it.
They didn't like it. Yeah, exactly. My mom has like these levels. Like she's like, oh, I loved it. She didn't like it. And then she's like, you're a genius, crying or whatever. And I'm like, okay, she liked that one.
Yeah. I have not yet impressed my mom like that. Not yet. But one day.
My mom is a gusher for sure. She is just like, you're a genius.
All right. Here is another question from
young adult.
Young adult. Okay.
Like awkward young adult.
Right. Awesome. All right. If any of you are plotters, how do you prevent burnout during the outlining stages? As am I the only one? Now, I don't plot, so we'll have to go to the plotter.
Am I the only plotter?
Yep.
Damn.
No.
I'm complicated. I'm in the middle.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You know, it's funny. I don't experience burnout in the outlining stages. And I think that's just because I don't know why, because I find that to be for me the most fun, because that's where my discovery happens. And so it's like I mean, I can only guess, but I feel like that's what you guys as discovery writers feel when you're writing your draft, because you're discovering it as you go. And so it's that rush of figuring things out and figuring out who this person is and what they're going to do and all these things. So I experience all that in the outlining process. So that's why I don't burn out in the outlining process, but I burn out a little bit in the drafting process sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't burn out at all. And I mean, sometimes it's like you write the book in a freaking month and you're like, how did that happen? And then another book takes a year and a half and you're just like, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't get burned out in the plotting stage. I do get burned out in the drafting stage.
Maybe if you're getting burnt out in the outlining stage, you should try being a discovery writer.
Yeah,
for real.
Drafting it instead.
Or even cutting down how much you're putting into the outline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's probably true too, because I know a lot of people that outline and they have like
very tight.
Yeah, like my outlines are at the most 2 pages. I'm not like that crazy of an outliner, but because I just do like a sentence or two about the arc, the plot, the whatever. But it's all thought out, but it's not like I know there are some people that do like literally like 100 pages of outline.
Yeah. And if I know what's going to happen on the next page, there's no point in me writing this book. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was when I was doing college English that I finally realized the reason why I sucked at writing papers was because I couldn't outline. I mean, I could. I'm obviously I know the structure of an outline,
Right.
but I felt like Sarah's always saying, once I've outlined the story's been told. There's no point in writing it.
Right.
So funny. I just like feel like the opposite, but everybody's different. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I do the research phase often first. Like
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
research, I learn everything that I could possibly learn or need to know about my story. Then I write my story, and then sometimes I'll summarize it in an outline. And I did that in school too.
Okay.
Like for my papers, I would research and research and research. I would write the paper, and then I would write the outline to turn in to the teacher, so that I could have an outline.
That's what I always did too.
Yeah, I always ended up finishing the paper, and then I would go and do the outline because you have to turn it all in. So
Mhm.
I would.
Yeah.
It was almost like I had to work backwards.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I got in
And
trouble. Like I like lost points on several projects because I turned the outline in at the end, and my parents were like, "Well, why was it late?" And I'm like, "Because I'm not doing that. That's stupid." So I just outlined the paper I wrote.
Mhm.
Like,
I think too for Awk Young Adult, back to like about paring down your outlining. I noticed that they wrote a comment where they said they tend to over outline because their worlds are so big. I would say trust what you know. Trust that you know your world enough to fill in the details.
or you could write yourself like a basic series Bible. Write down what you know about the world, just narratively, almost like the Silmarillion.
Mhm.
And I mean, hopefully you're not going to write the Silmarillion, but then
It was an okay read. It's not
use
that bad.
that. No, that's too dry for me. But I can't even read Anne Rice. So, but then maybe try to outline and see if that's. You would have that if you don't learn Klingon. I'm not talking to you anymore.
They have it on Duolingo.
Yeah, I know they do.
Kapla.
That's the only word I know too.
Oh, how funny. So, Sin Seriousness asked, what makes you go back to a book after a burnout?
Shame.
I always go back to the book after a burnout because I'm one of those people. I can't leave something not finished. Even if it takes me 5 years to finish coloring the picture that I started 5 years ago, I will eventually come back to it and finish it. It has to be finished. Even if I have nothing left to say and it's the end.
I don't have that. I can leave things unfinished. I wish I had that because sometimes I feel like I could get, but once I realized for me, the story isn't the story I want to tell anymore, I will drop it.
Yeah.
Like I wrote Dream Diary
Immediately.
too. Like I finished it. Like it's a sequel to the first book, but I don't think I'm ever going to publish it.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't matter how much I re-edit it. I don't know. It's became a place where I don't think I want Dream Diaries to be a series.
Mm.
And the book isn't bad. Like I actually like a lot about it. I don't want to publish it. So I don't know.
You should write those wishes down because you don't want to get To Kill a Mockingbirded.
Oh shit! Yeah, write that down.
That's so funny.
You never know what someone's gonna do.
After Burnout, it's easy for me to go back to a project because I've only just like temporarily like needed a break. But there are stories that I have just dropped that it's beyond Burnout at that point. The story, I've realized something about the story that is just not right.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And it could be anything, like the character is wrong, like their whole perspective is wrong, and I've aged out of them. I've aged completely out of character stories that I've been telling.
Yeah.
Like if I was telling Catcher in the Rye, if I was talking about Holden Caulfield, I would have probably grown out of him and just not published that book.
Right.
Like that's a possibility.
Yeah.
You can age out.
I definitely, like, if my first book I ever wrote in full, I lent to someone and then it disappeared off the face of the planet. But if I had it today, I would light it on fire. It was written by a very angry 16-year-old prior to Columbine and had things that since then would not be appropriate.
Right.
So, like, it just would have to go. Like, I live in constant fear that girl's going to surface and be like, by the way, I got it.
Here it is.
And then I'm just going to have to, like, I don't know, jump off a cliff or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, here is another good one. Do you deal with burnout during the writing or on general a daily basis? I wasn't dealing with it at all until it like punched me in the face and said, "Ha ha, I'm here." And now that I am a recovering burnout, I plan on dealing with it more on a daily basis. So if I feel myself getting overwhelmed again, instead of getting to the point where I'm terrified to open my office door because the whole universe is going to be looking at me, I'll say, you know what, today's going to be a day off and we're going up the mountain because I don't ever want to get to that point again. I don't want to be afraid of my office. I love it. I don't know if you guys have seen my office, but I've got dragons and unicorns. I've got the solar system on my roof. It's a magical place. And not wanting to be in this space was like, ah.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
I think dealing with it on a daily basis is important. And I like what you said as well. Like, you know, today we're going to have a day off and we're going to walk and, you know, go up the mountain or do whatever. But we are, as artists, we are in an amazingly, like, just, we're in a really privileged position because even during our burnout or before it or whatever stuff is going on, we can connect with our art wherever we go, right? Limiting yourself to a narrow scope of, I can only write down my art or I can only think about my art in this way, I think can accelerate our burnout. But being open to just sort of observing things that will inspire our art, even tangentially, is important. And I think it can do a lot for our mental well-being and for our stories and for our art in general. Rather than feeling locked down, like chained to your desk, like I must write or I will die, like go and look at the sky for a while. What would your character think if they were looking at the same sky as you right now? Like, how would they feel?
Yeah, I know some people also find it like, I keep bringing it up and I feel kind of silly bringing it up again, but at this point, who cares? Like, I know some people make their characters in Sims and then play with them as part of a way to just like disconnect but still stay connected.
Right.
Or one time when I was having trouble, CJ was reading a book that I'd written, and the floor layout of the house was strange. So I built it in Sims and then I uploaded it so that she could look at it in Sims and see the outline of the house to understand how it was laid out. So then she could also suggest to me how to express that more clearly.
Yeah.
You know, so like you can do things that are like disconnecting you, that are still helping you. And sometimes that helps too, because you feel like you're making progress. I'm doing something. I'm making some progress. But at the same time, you're also, doing this thing that is kind of counterproductive and kind of feels like you're getting away with something.
Mhm.
Right. See, and I used to do that. I used to actually take a notebook with me. So when I was writing The Awakening, 90% of that book was written in a notebook, in a field, or on a hike or something. And I've noticed that I think it's just part of my creative side is that my creativity is a lot more vibrant when I take myself away from the noise, like, and I'm always like, oh, it's too noisy. And they're like, well, there's no sound. And I'm like, yeah, there is way too much sound in here. And it's because it's just everything, So I definitely think that.
And I think sometimes it doesn't even matter what the sound is. Like, if it's your same sound, then it's different. Like, I live in a city-ish city. But when I was in New York City, sitting in an apartment, hearing the sounds of the street there was much more of a trigger for my creativity. Even though, like, I don't live in the country, I don't hear totally different sounds. They're just very different. They're at a different angle, and they're from different, like, their sirens sound just slightly different than the sirens out here, and things like that. Like, those little shifts almost trigger it more for me, because it's like my brain is like, why is that off?
Right.
Like, it's just a skew. So that might work for some people too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, like the conversation. Oh, the sound of no sound is why I find myself wearing noise canceling headphones. I would love to have some noise canceling headphones.
I'm terrified of them.
I mean, maybe because I think then I would hear myself.
Your back's to the door too.
Yeah. Well, that is like.
See, and that's my thing is that I would hear somebody come up behind me and I would punch them in the eye, and it would be a whole problem.
Well, the reason why I face a window and so in this office, in the office I was in before, I made sure that my desk faced the window because I just needed that escape. Like, I needed to be able to see outside the window. And now how I have it set up, I can either sit towards this wall or I can still see out the window. But if I was like in a room with no windows and the door was behind me, then I'd probably, and that's just my crazy. But I'm not like talking about like actual noise.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, like noise for me includes it's more like distractions. So noise for me includes the internet, 5 kids running through the house, 6 dogs wanting to play, mom, play. So
I just have 3 cats, and that's plenty.
Yeah.
I have 1 cat, and that's
That's too much.
I'm one of these days I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to be like, okay, maybe I don't have the energy for all these wonderful animals, but till that day comes, I will wear my Malamutes with pride. Speaking of which, Oink got on the bed for the first time. She was so proud of herself. Yes. She was so proud of herself. She did this like flop on her front legs, flopped first, and then she needed a little assistance getting her back half up. But once she was up there, she was like, oh, I am the coolest Malamute on the planet. And then she turned around and she saw this full-length mirror that I have, and she like literally put her body on top of my body and was like, I'm going to protect you, Mom. And I was like, oh, this is a scene in the book This is happening. I love this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was. It was just. It was. She's getting so big.
That's something that actually helps me a lot with burnout and writing stress and all of that stuff is my pets.
Yeah, same.
Like for sure.
Mhm.
Like I gave this excuse to my partner when I was like, I need a dog. I was like, every writer has a dog. I've got 2 cats, but like I was like, but every writer has a dog. Like there's a brand around the dog. You know what I mean? Like Stephen King has his corgis. Like I need a dog. Little did I know, like they were already like, yeah, okay, you can get a dog. I was just like, I have made a PowerPoint presentation about why I need a dog.
Oh,
Do you not want my PowerPoint? I need to do my PowerPoint now.
I must do a PowerPoint.
oh my goodness. Yeah, no. I came into. I think I was born with a dog. Like, I legitimately cannot remember a time in my life where I did not have a dog or some kind of. I mean, we were rural people, so we had animals all the time, and they are amazing. Carol,
I see that. I saw that. That's why I laughed.
our spreadsheet queen, needs your PowerPoint.
I demand the PowerPoint.
That's right. That's right. Well, that is. Everybody's talking about their desks and their bedrooms
And their dogs now.
and their dogs.
Yeah, I don't have a doggo. My parents have a doggo.
4 Great Danes. HPF Chamber has 4 Great Danes.
Wow, that is a full house.
Yeah.
That is a tall house.
Part of the
Because-
reason I don't have a dog is because I got attacked by a Great Dane. So
Oh.
yeah, and I actually really like dogs. I'm not like afraid of dogs as a general rule. I just am definitely not a approach a dog first kind of person now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like, if in an ideal world, I'd have a German sheepdog and a corgi.
Oh.
And that would be my life.
That's
But-
cute.
Yeah, I don't think my husband would go for that, and my landlord definitely wouldn't.
The farm that I worked on, they bred German shepherds for like canine units, and so that was like my job on the farm, was like with the dogs, all the puppies, like pre-training, all of that stuff. This is one of my favorite jobs.
Aw.
Dogs are good things.
Mhm.
Yes,
They're good people.
they are.
The best people. The goodest boys and girls.
I think that I might have StreamYard jumps occasionally, and I think that I might have missed a question.
Yeah, from
Oh.
author J.C. Carpenter. I think they're gonna
Yeah.
post again.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think Carol asked them to repost it since everything gets so dang lost on the StreamYard.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes I'll slowly scroll through, and then StreamYard jumps, and then I lose everything. So how do you manage reading and writing at the same time? I find if I'm reading, that's all I want to do. Writing falls to the wayside.
I've always done both. I can't imagine my life not doing both. Like they're so tied together for me that I read every day and I write every day. Or unless, of course, like I said, I go through major burnout, but usually that lasts a week or two. So I'm usually writing every day and reading every day. I have to do both.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah,
thing.
I need like constant entertainment stimulus plus writing. Like I have to do all of the things. Like my music is usually blaring when I'm writing. Well, not blaring. I have bat ears and I don't want tinnitus. And I watch some sort of television show every day. I read something every day, and I write every day. Even if I have burnout, I'll write something.
Okay. I used to
Like-
do that, but
It's usually poetry. Like, and that's mainly because my journal is kept in poetry. Like, I can't write stream of consciousness to save
Okay.
my freaking life. So my journal entries are poetry.
That's
And
cool.
so I write something every day
right.
because I journal every day.
Right. I don't necessarily write every day. I frequently don't have time to write every day, so I would like to. I used to.
I don't write my book every day, but I try to make sure I write something. And then I read every day, but it's not always the same book. Like if somebody asks me to beta for them, or if someone asks me to do a critique, I consider that to be my reading.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I do read like books from cover to cover. However, I'll read like a couple of like chapters, and then I'll kind of put it aside, and then I'll go find something else, because I am a squirrel.
That's the same. I read like a chapter at a time, and I have like 3 or 4 books that I consider open that I'm like alternating between each day randomly, kind of thing. So
Yes.
I feel you.
And I have them laying all over the house, and my husband's like, well, how do you remember what you've read? And I'm like, I have no idea how I remember what I've read. I can't remember whether or not I paid the electric bill, but I know what I read 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Nope.
Squirrel. So, all right. This question is, for those of you who also suffer from depression, how do you distinguish the difference from slipping into another bout of depression and experiencing burnout?
They go hand in hand, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that the burnout triggers the depression
Yeah.
more often than the other way, at least.
Yes.
But if I start to feel my depression coming on, even especially like if my medication is stable and I'm having no other problems with that, if I start to feel a bout of depression coming on, I assume that that's probably where it's coming from.
Yeah. I can usually pick up when I'm spiraling. And so I have like severe chronic depression, like big neon sign above my head. And so I can usually detect when I am about to spiral, and the beginning of the spiral precedes the burnout for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like I'll feel some type of way about something, and then I get sad, and then I don't want to write anymore. And then I'm like, but why am I writing in the first place? And then I spiral and spiral and spiral and spiral, and Usain Bolt catches me. That's the way it
Right.
works. Remember, guys.
I have situational depression, which for a long time I was told that situational depression equals life, until you experience what it is, and then you just want to be like, ugh. But so I'm actually learning I'm in the process of learning how to distinguish one or the other. Like, I don't actually know at this point in time if I burnt out first, or if I started experiencing depression first. I'm leaning towards my depression kicked me first, and then I stopped writing, and then I stopped. And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't have a definite answer.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the problems with mental health difficulties is that even if every single person on this screen had the exact same diagnosis from the exact same doctor, none of our symptoms might be the same.
Yeah.
Right.
So that can be very difficult because it's so personal.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, what do you do concerning burnout and authortube, and how do you fill your well for that?
If you don't see a video, you check my Twitter, and I said on Twitter that I can't do no video.
I run.
Yeah, you guys have noticed in my channel, I really have maybe posted like 4 videos in the last 2 or 3 months. It's just because I don't know why. I mean, it is a burnout in some sense, but it's like even my latest video just for week 2, it took me like 3 days to edit it, not because of the difficulty, but because of the mental difficulty. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like doing a video. And then I felt like this is taking up too much of my writing time. And this is like, isn't the point of doing this author tube so that I'm sharing writing? But now I feel like I'm not writing at all because I'm just doing the videos. And so am I an author tuber or am I a writer? And I just, it's like, I am so in a mode right now that I don't know. Like, I don't know what my future is on AuthorTube. I know that now that I found this amazing community, that I feel like I found friends for life and that I'll always be a part of it, whether I'm, in the comment section and stuff. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to leave that aspect of AuthorTube. But honestly, I don't know how I feel about making videos anymore. I just don't. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
I'm most proud of my live streams. Like,
it's
where because I get to talk to people there,
right.
And we're just hanging out. Like we're in a coffee shop. You know what I mean?
And that's what I used to do. Like, I used to, my friends that lived in my same city, now they're all moved away. But all my writing friends that used to live in the same city as me, we could always write together, always. And I missed it so much. And I found it again on AuthorTube, which was just like amazing. But now I'm at this place where I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I feel that. I get that for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad to hear that I'm not alone. It's almost like, as much as I love AuthorTube, sometimes it's like, well, am I giving up my writing to pursue this? So I stopped making like AuthorTube videos. Now I make videos about my kids, my dogs, my rabbits, my whatever just happens to pop up.
Yeah.
But then I started doing the live streams, and I was having a lot of fun with those live streams. And then I started live streaming like 5 days a week, and I have I have a lot of fun writing with my friends. I think what I'm starting to realize is that instead of live streaming 5 days a week, maybe do like 2 one week, 3 the next week, kind of break it up a little bit. Because it is demanding. And I think a lot of people don't understand that even when you're just sitting in front of the camera and you're talking to the audience and we're doing your writing sprints and stuff, it's mentally exhausting because you want to make sure that you are engaged, and then you're thinking of what you're going to say, and then you have to disconnect, and then you're writing. And for 15 or 20 minutes, you're writing, and then you disconnect from that, and you go back to talking and conversing. And so it's taxing. It's definitely taxing. Yeah. I'm not going to quit.
Right.
But I can definitely see myself taking a hiatus and then coming back with a battle strategy that I'm not going to wean myself out so thin.
I think the thing I do is not have a schedule for videos. I know a lot of people recommend that. I did not have a schedule for live streams, but I think I love when other people have a schedule for live streams. But I know for me that like having guaranteed, I don't always want to write at the same time every week, and it is hard to show up and like be as enthusiastic as you need to be to help host or co-host something sometimes. And I know I just can't do that on a regular interval. So it helps me a lot in the same vein of making sure that I'm not like trying to set my goal too high with writing, that I'm also not pushing to make sure that like I must do everything Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday or whatever. So that's how it kind of helps me avoid the burnout.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to really think about what I wanted my non-live stream videos to be about, right? And it took me a while because I continued my live streams, but I like went dark for a couple of weeks of like regular videos, and I really needed to think about what is the purpose for the channel. And the purpose for my channel, at least, is my writing experience and my writing journey. So whatever I put on my channel, it just needs to be authentically myself. And so like the learning Chinese video that I did, as an example, was just me being myself. It's something I'm interested in, something that's creatively fulfilling for me, and something that I wanted to do and share, right? Because that's all part of my writing journey, because my writing journey is my journey.
Yeah.
And like that's what my channel is about. It's about my small bubble, and maybe somebody can relate to that bubble, and they can feel better, and that can help push them forward if they're in as dark a place as I was
Right.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So evaluating your burnout concerning AuthorTube will fill your well.
And be honest with yourself about what you actually like. Because like if you look at my videos, if you just load all of my videos, you'll see that like every single week my live stream doesn't miss, unless I have 1 week a year where I'm on a conference for my day job.
Right.
And then there's one other thing that 2 or 3 years came up. And otherwise I don't miss my live streams, and then I'm here now. But otherwise I don't miss my live streams because that's what I really love doing. And so in a week when I'm just like over it, I just won't make a video that week, but I'll still live stream because live streaming matters to me.
Right.
Yep.
And it's okay that everybody has different things that matter to them, and it should be that way. So don't feel wrong if you feel like something different matters to your channel.
Absolutely. You know, I think
otherwise it's boring.
Imposter syndrome comes into.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and I say this all the time, I feel like as I'm editing, I'm like, why does anyone want to watch this? Like, I am bored watching myself.
Yeah.
Like, I do not, like, who would want to watch this? Like, who would want to watch me do this, you know? And you can't like do that to yourself, but it's like, it's really hard sometimes to get out of that mindset that, you know, I enjoy watching people doing this stuff. So why would other people enjoy watching someone else doing this stuff, you know? So it's like, so exactly, I think that's the key right there is evaluating and figuring it out for yourself of what is your burnout exactly. Just like once you figure it out, and like for me, honestly, at this point, I feel like I'm probably just going to focus on my Forgotten Female Fiction channel, because that's what I'm most passionate about. And that's what I'm passionate about in terms of making videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll just, you know, probably take a hiatus on vlogs and stuff like that, unless I feel like it and, you know, suddenly grab the camera and you're like, you know, in a moment or something. But other than that, it's like you have to figure out what you're truly passionate about and what doesn't feel like. For me, I want to do stuff that doesn't feel like I'm taking away from something else, because that's how I'm feeling lately, is that it's taking away from doing other things, because I'm taking the time to film, I'm taking the time to edit, I'm taking the time to make the thumbnails, I'm taking the time to write the copy, I'm taking the time to put it on Instagram, I'm taking the time, you know, it just goes and goes and goes. And I'm just like, wait a minute, my whole freaking 3 days are gone. Did I write anything? No. You know, and it's just eating at me lately. And maybe it's COVID, I don't know, just because isolation and everything becomes compounded and you're just like, ah.
Yeah.
But live streams, are the same for me. I feel like that's where I can connect.
Yeah. It's really finding your passion is important.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're all storytellers because we're all writers, so we all tell stories, but each of us has a different element about storytelling that we love.
Yeah.
Right. Like I personally love the storytelling element in basically everything. I used to do reviews on music and music videos because there's storytelling elements in there. How does the music correlate with the music video? Things like that. And same for movies and other stories, all of that stuff. Like storytelling is a passion, but there are little itty bitty niches in that passion that you can find, and no answer is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we are almost at the 2-hour mark, so I think we're going to have time for one more question, and then we will have to say goodnight. And I think that this is a great question, and it is, how do you find time to fill your well on a regular basis? And what we can do is we can answer this question and then do our outro, and then we will say goodnight and we can close out. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay.
All right. So why don't we start the opposite way that we started?
I knew you were gonna do that. I could feel it.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was like, maybe she'll. No. Okay. Hi, my name is I am an author and an author tuber, although from my last statement, it probably doesn't sound like it. But I guess finding the time, I still think it's going back to what Sarah and I were talking about like the binging fandoms. That's how I do it on a regular basis, because right now Warehouse 13 and Alias are saving my butt, and even though I've seen them a bunch of times, it doesn't matter. For some reason, it gives me energy, it gives me excitement, it gives me passion for other people's storytelling. So that's honestly the best way for me.
For finding the time on a regular basis, I think this is one of those where it's like you have to make the time because it's that important. I know I've talked about it a lot if anyone watches my videos about the passion planner, but I love it so much, and I make sure there's like a little personal section, and I write down 2 things that I think would count as refilling my well.
Is that the downloadable planner?
You can there are
totally
some
have
downloadable
that.
Like ones that you can print off.
I totally have that.
That's what, if you want the free one, you can do. Yep. I have, not next to me, but like I have the bound one. It helps so much to like visibly see it each day and be like, yeah, this is a self-care thing that I need to do, and then I can check it off. And yeah, so that's what I do.
And your outro.
Oh, and
I got you.
Thank you. You can find me at the channel Kate Kavanaugh. I make writing vlogs and talk about my books that hopefully will come out in the near future. Yay!
All right. So, how do I find time to fill the well? I completely agree with Kate. It's about making time. And people will say that you make time for things that you want, but you will also make time for things that are important. At least you should try to do that. And so I mentioned before, I will do skincare every single night. It doesn't matter if it works. I will put on, I have one right next to me because I'm about to pop the sucker on, a sheet mask. Like, don't play with me. It's going on my face. I'm going to zone out and chill. I'll light a candle. I'll light some incense. I'll blast music. Even if I have to multitask the time, I will do that. Something that makes me smile is absolutely invaluable to me, to mitigate burnout, to punch Usain Bolt in the face as he's running full speed at my hand. Like, sometimes you just got to turn around.
Right.
And and so that's how I find the time or make the time.
My name is Austin K, as it says here. That's the name of my channel as well. It is my name. And I'm in the middle of my one-year novel writing project called So Tall the Trees, which I plan to publish in December of this year. So I'm going to die. It's fine. And that's me.
Okay, and I am apparently relatively unique in that I can watch things while I write.
Ooh.
So so like I can watch a whole season of American Horror Story and get 15,000 words.
Oh, that's
Like that can
great.
happen.
Wow.
So that's how I fit it in, is that I'm capable of doing that. It's like the one skill I get in my writing that works for me. Everything else is just
my therapist calls it ADHD.
Oh. I read a study about how ADHD might be a symptom of bipolar disorder in like some people with bipolar disorder, so that tracks. I don't have a diagnosis, but it tracks. But yeah, so that's really how I fit it in. My name is Sarah Sharnover. I have a channel also called Sarah Sharnover. I do Friday night live streams at 7 p.m. Central. I was here instead tonight, but usually I'm there. I do videos on Sundays. I do a D&D game every other Wednesday. Well, the first, third, and fifth Wednesday of every month on twitch.tv/PlasticAgePlays. I'm a cat person. That's awesome. And that's it.
Awesome. So I am starting a routine of doing self-care for myself every day. And so far, what I have done is every day I have to walk one of my mini dogs twice a day. And they're loving it because they're like, yeah, mom's got the leash and we are getting out of the yard. So I will have to update you on that later and let you know how it goes. Because I'm getting started on this self-care for me. I think that was one of the things I forgot to do was me. Like, who's that, right? So, speaking of which, I'm Dana Gollin, and this is my channel, and I just want to thank every single one of you for being here. Thank you so much for my panelists who came and hung out with me today and endured my sobbing over my 500.
Oh, no.
Thank you for having us, and congrats.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We are it for tonight, but we will start back up at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Eastern Daylight Time on Lainey's. Her name is Lainey, and her channel is Ginger Reads Lainey, and she will be creating a series Bible, which I'm really excited about because I know so many people do them. I just am like, well, how do I get started doing this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I don't know if anybody else noticed, but I completely spaced putting my description in the description. So it will be there soon with links to everybody's channels. I totally wrote it up. I just forgot to copy and paste it. Life happens. But anyway, thank you guys so very much. If you want to know more about me, I do have a website. It's danagollinwrites.com, or you can go check out the other videos that I have on my channel. So yeah, until then, thank you for coming to the Evergreen Writing Oasis virtual writing retreat. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a blessed night.
Bye bye, Zaitian. Have a good night.